Take a look at yourself right now. Now take a look at your life. Life is a very difficult thing to get through. It's a very difficult thing to navigate through. Let me tell you a story. My life was interesting for me. It all started in the year I was born. Everything was great. Parents together, and they stayed together the whole time until my dad passed away. But when I look at things, the difficulty started in 1983. One of my best friends was killed, hit by a car, dragged for miles. It was so sad because his mother couldn't recognize him when it was time for her to have the funeral. Life. I tell you, it's just hard. The struggles, the storms that come at you. And then I fast forward to about 1987. One of my closest friends, I thought everything was okay. We talked for hours. We laughed, we joked. We talked about going to get some Harold's chicken and some home run in pizza. If you ever come to Chicago, you definitely want some Harold's chicken. And we were laughing and joking that night and talking about the girls we were gonna go take out on a date the next couple of days. And I told him, all right, dog, I gotta get home, before my mom started tripping and I gotta go. He said, I'll see you later. Then his mom called me. Well, she paged me, because back then we had pages. I don't know if y'all know what pages are, but I had a little page, and I thought I was a man. It said beep, 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 beep. I looked at it, and it was his mother. And I called, and I said, what's going on? She said, Marcus, have you seen? And I said, no. I hadn't seen Eric since we left. I left your house, and I went straight home. And she was crying on the phone. So I looked at the phone, and I said, hold on. And I knocked on my parents' door, and I said, Ma, Dad, Eric is missing. Can I help his mother go and find him? And they were like, go ahead, and if you need us, call us. It was a tough night that day. My friend sat in front of a train and committed suicide. That was a very difficult time for me. Then I fast forward my life and I go to college. Hey, you get to college, boy. Hey, it's on. How many of y'all remember going to college and getting it on? Well, I had a roommate. And he went on a plane, a single-engine plane, for the weekend, flying to Wisconsin from Illinois. And his plane crashed. He didn't make it. Life is so full of different things. But I got buried with all of these things that were happening. The negativity. I felt like life was just tearing me down. Just destroying everything that I was trying to do. Then I fast forward my life and I got married, had a son, divorced at 26. And I got remarried to my wife that I've been with ever since. We had a daughter and then another daughter. Such a blended family. So I had 3 girls and 1 boy. But life was still taking a toll on me with death. You see, starting in 1987, that was the beginning of being buried by life. That was not easy for me. I lost my paternal grandfather. Then in 2000, when I was supposed to go have dinner with my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, she had an emergency that took her to the hospital, and she passed away. Then 7 years later, while I was talking to my dad, he died right in front of me. And this life is just tearing me apart. Just feel like I'm being buried and put into the soil, and just dirt being put all over me because my mindset was getting weaker and weaker because of the things that I had been through. Then I fast forward that, and my brother passed 7 years after that in 2014. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. You see, because at that point, life had destroyed me. At that point, life had buried me deep down into the earth. Deep, deep, deep. Into a hole that I felt like I couldn't get out of. And at that point, I felt like there were just other skeletons just dropped on top of me. And I had no way to get out, to move forward. And I thought my life was actually crappy. And at one point, I thought it was over. Because if I fast forward that, I ended up with COVID. Really bad COVID. But I was able to, by the grace of God, survive it. Now, what that makes me think about is the rebuild that I'm in right now. You see, because in the Bible, there was a man, his name was Joseph. His brothers didn't like him either. They were jealous of him. So they sold him into slavery. But then he ended up being a dream teller for the king. He told him and interpreted his dreams. And you know what Joseph did? He even forgave his brothers. But then I also think about Job. Because Job had everything stripped from him. Just everything. And when I look at my life, I've had a house, I've lost a house. I had another house and I gave it up. And life was just so hard. And then I fast forward and I look at things and I look at how I want to help people and how I want to do the things I need to do to help people move into the right direction. But what I had to realize is the storm doesn't kill you. It only makes you stronger because it's a rebuild from God. See, God takes all those things that happen to you and he moves you somewhere else so that he can reassemble you piece by piece, brick by brick, to be the person that you were designed to be. And sometimes when we think about that, it's a very difficult thing to think like, well, why are you taking me through all this and why can't I live better and why can't I do this? Let me tell you a little story. An eagle, when they get to a certain age, in their 40s actually, their claws grow so long. Their beaks are even longer. They have a decision to make. They can still soar through the clouds, but they can't eat because their beak is too long, so it's too hard to kill the prey. Their claws are too long, it's too hard to grab the prey, and they're hurting themselves. So here's their decision. Their decision is to go up to the mountain and beat that beak on a rock until it falls off. And then they become beakless. or they can let it go and starve until they pass away. But the eagles that have the strength and tenacity to do what they need to do, they soar right on up to that mountain, they land, and then they take that beak off. And it takes 6 months for that beak to grow back. And when it grows back, they pull their claws out, their talons, until they grow back. It's called a rebuild. God has showed them how to rebuild because he's given them the ability to regrow their claws and to regrow their beak. But they have to make a decision. The decision is, do I suffer and get rebuilt brick by brick, piece by piece, or do I give up? Well, most of those eagles that have a strong mindset will rebuild. And that beak comes back and those talons grow back. And once they do, they soar right on down to the rivers and they go get food and they eat and they consume the food so that they can get their strength back. And then the second storm comes through for them. The second half of their life. Now, when that storm comes through, eagles have the ability to soar above the storm and look down for the right opening. So the question I have for you is, do you have the ability to soar above the storm and look for the opening to do what you need to do for yourself? Because you see, when God has these things that happen to you, but you feel they shouldn't, you're being rebuilt. Piece by piece, brick by brick. That's what Job did. He trusted God and he was rebuilt. He was given everything back ×2. Joseph was in slavery for a little while and then he ended up working for the king. See, God continues to bless us even when we're not thinking about we deserve or when it's coming. I say that to say because when I went through what I went through, all that death, and I felt like I was so busy doing everything I needed to do, running through life. But I didn't take the time out to think that maybe I was being rebuilt to be a better person. You see, emotionally, I was just destroyed. I was devastated. I was crying in the dark. But I didn't realize that there was a message in this. I didn't realize that God was going to take my pain and use it for good. You see, because God can take everything negative and make it positive. So what did God teach me? And I'm still working on it. I'm learning it. I'm not going to lie. I'm the EQ guru, the emotional intelligence coach. The reason I am is because I understand that emotionally, no matter what you go through, it's only 10% of the battle. The other 90% of the battle is how I react to it. So you see, when God moved me and I felt like I was being buried and those bones were being put on top of me and the buildings were putting on top of me and I felt like I had no way out. What I didn't understand was he repotted me. He put me in the soil so that I can grow back. That's right. So I can be rebuilt to be better in what I needed to do in life, to serve him, to show people, to teach people. So when you're going through that storm, and as tough as it is, get on your knees and ask yourself, are you being rebuilt? Because it probably is a rebuild. People are going to laugh at you. People are going to make fun of you. People are going to tell you, you don't even know what you're doing. But that's okay. You know, because people laugh at me all the time. As a person that loves pizza as much as I do, They asked me, is that all I eat all the time? I had a fight with my uncle, and I'll never forget this. My grandmother passed away in 2000, and everybody was rushing to the house to get the last bit of food that she ever cooked. But for me, it was just one meal. I wanted my sloppy Joe. If you don't know what sloppy Joe's is, look it up on the internet. I wanted my sloppy Joe. So I ran over to the house after everything was done. And you know something? That lady made my sloppy Joe. She left it in the freezer with my name on it. And my uncle was trying his best. He was taking it and pulling everything out of the refrigerator and the freezer. And he grabbed my sloppy Joe. And I said, yo, whoa, 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 whoa. Yo, dog, that's not yours. See, that name says Marcus. It does not say Jimmy. It says Marcus. So that's for me. I said, don't make me whoop your tail over my sloppy Joe. Because I will fight you for that sloppy Joe. I'm just letting you know. He gave in, he gave him a sloppy Joe. But isn't that remarkable? That even in the moment that she passed away, she still left me something to eat. That was a great gift for me. I say that to say, even in our darkest moments, God is always there. So when I started my rebuild, after my 7 years, 6.5 really, of torture, of losing my brother and thinking about all the things that I had been through in these storms, losing a friend when I was young, losing my other friend when I was 16, and all the other death. It could have broke me because these were people that were really important to me, that were near and dear to my heart. But what I learned was God was rebuilding me to be stronger, just like that eagle that tore off his beak and his talons to continue to live. I had to shed this layer of frustration and anger and hurt and uncontrollable emotions to be a better person. So all during that, the key takeaway is I became extremely self-aware. My self-awareness grew. I became more self-assured. I started to understand me. So what I want you to take away from this speech is this. When life is giving you a difficult time, first thing you should do is pray. The second thing you should do is journal how you feel. Talk about what's going on. Whether you talk to someone or to yourself, get it out of your mind. And the third thing I want you to understand is it's not a punishment. It's a rebuild. And the rebuild is coming piece by piece, brick by brick by brick. So no matter what anyone says about you, around you, doesn't matter. The rebuild is your rebuild. Like I said, I felt like I had skeletons and buildings put on me. But what I didn't realize was I was replanted to grow and be the person that God wants me to be. Not what people want me to be, but what God wants me to be. So if you'd like to work on you and to understand how you can be a better person, you can reach out to me at www.thewrightmentality.com. You can follow me on all social media as Wright Mentality, or you can reach me on my phone, 630-621-0708. I'm going to leave you with this. The word that I'm going to say today is rebuild. The Wright Mentality word is rebuild. When you're looking at your life and you're looking at the things that you're going through, I guarantee you it's probably a rebuild. Take that eagle, for instance. The eagle did rebuild. His body restored itself so that he or she can go back out and get the food that they needed to survive. If they can do it, you can do it. It's been your boy, Marcus A. Wright. Peace.